Hello, my astrology friends and family. This is Lada from astrolada.com. And today I'm here with the master astrologer, Trifon Nikolov, who will lead us through the astrological influences according to ancient, sidereal, zodiac, and Babylonian rules. And he'll tell us what to expect this month. Hello, Trifon.
Hello, everybody. Now the summer is in full speed and things will be very intense this month, actually. So let's comment on this. I know that some of you consider that I can be like too negative in the predictions, but actually this only like reflects the reality of the aspects that are happening in the sky. So usually I can talk about some negative aspects a little bit more, just in order to make you prepared, or like some awareness about this, because there are many good influences always. You know, people, always we have Saturn and Mars somewhere, always we have Jupiter and Venus. There is always a balance. Please remember this. Always, always. No matter what Saturn does, what Mars does, always Venus is somewhere aspecting, always Jupiter is aspecting. So in short, let's remind you a little bit about that. Now Saturn is in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius, aspecting with bad aspects. Some signs with some good aspects, other signs. Like for instance, Sidereal Aquarius has Saturn, which is in tropical astrology, being the tropical sign Pisces, right? But from there, Saturn aspects to Leo, Sidereal to Scorpio, Taurus. So those signs, they have influence of Saturn. And you can just move one sign ahead to understand which is the tropical sign. And so it's also for the other signs. For instance, Jupiter is now in Aries, in the sidereal signs, considered to be in tropical Taurus. Whatever, if you look at the sky, you will see Saturn being among the stars of Aquarius and Jupiter being among the stars of Aries these days. Just use something, some astronomical app on your phones, for instance, or just look with whatever you have. And Jupiter is in Aries. So Jupiter is helping people who have Aries rising or Aries positions, which again, in tropical astrology is Taurus. But from there, he makes those aspects which are the good ones. Like he makes trine to Leo, trine to Sagittarius, and which in turning into tropical signs, these are the signs Virgo and Capricorn. So they receive the help. So as you can see, there is a balance always. But sometimes things are getting a little bit more messy in the sky. And this is when Saturn and Mars have a mutual angular position to each other. This means when they are like 180 degrees from each other or 90 degrees from each other, the so-called square into position. And what is happening right now? It is exactly that the opposition of Mars and Saturn starts to form right now in the sky. On the 1st of July, Mars entered Leo, sidereal Leo. And it will stay for some time, till middle of August. However, on the opposite side, we have Saturn in Aquarius. Now this opposition starts to form, and we will experience the process in the 20 days ahead. Like I can say already 15 days, because now it's 5th of July, and the opposition will be exact on the 20th of July, exact opposition of Saturn and Mars. What does this mean? The ancients are saying different things. For instance, some of them are saying that when Saturn and Mars combine, because they are extremely different, like Saturn is cold, Mars is hot, for instance, and so on. So they say that they neutralize each other to some degree, which can be good, which can lead to some balance in many things. Like one evil against another evil, so to say, so they extinguish each other, more or less. This is one of the effects, by the way. There will be such things. But again, this is somehow achieved through destructive processes. However, for the people who are ruled either by Mars or by Saturn, this will be not so beautiful process, because they will experience the full strength of the malefic planet opposing their ascendant ruler, for instance, or the ruler of the sun, or the ruler of the moon. So if you have, for instance, the sun in Aries or in Scorpio, or you have ascendant in those signs, Aries and Scorpio, this is sidereal, remember, sidereal, and it transfers into Taurus and Sagittarius in tropical signs, Western astrology used signs. So if you have positions there, you now face the limiting power of Saturn. Saturn will block your actions. It will show you how ineffective you are, how weak potentially, how you are hitting a wall or something, right? So, and you can feel in this way for some time. So, and this is exactly in the next 2 weeks, the most, because the culmination of this process is 20th of July. After that, it's more like only consequences from what has happened. Of course, 20th of July itself is a little bit more dangerous day for everybody, when they can have more troubles than usual. Especially, I'm telling you again, people who are ruled by either Mars or Saturn. And so this aspect of Saturn can, however, help you to channel your efforts and energy somehow better after seeing the truth, of course, of being not so effective in certain circumstances. And people who are ruled by Mars, they should even take care a little bit more about topics like work and health, because for Scorpio rising, Sidereal, Sagittarius in tropical, Mars is also a ruler of the house of work and health, so they can experience some blockages there. Those who are ruled, who have Aries, they can experience conflicts, anger, and even accidents for different reasons. Maybe the reasons will come from superiors, because Saturn rules the 10th house and the 11th house, so that those can be superiors, people in higher positions, or friends who are creating some troubles or make you feel blocked. This is for the Aries types who in tropical astrology have Taurus actually. So this is the side related to Mars. On the weather, this can create somehow better balanced weather, I guess, because the coldness of Saturn will block a little bit the heat of Mars. So there is also, as you can see, some good effects. Also, people who are ruled by Mars and who are evil will be stopped by Saturn. Right? So as you can see, there is also something good, because it means some criminal types who are represented by Mars will face much bigger troubles. For instance, they will be not able to do what they want. So I'm again reminding you about the existing balance in the universe. In every aspect, there is something good and something potentially negative. including in those related to Saturn and Mars. Now, on the other side of your position, we have the people who are having the signs Capricorn and Aquarius ruled by Saturn. So if you have this signs rising, and this is to remind you in sidereal, which will be Aquarius and Pisces in tropical signs, Western astrology signs. So if you are ruled by those and you have maybe the sun or the moon there, then you face the rage of Mars somehow. You experience much more attacks, aggression, conflicts, potentially anger. Other people can try to overcome your complexes, fears. They can become angry because of the things that you fear and that you guard in life. Things that you consider representing your security in life and your stability may make other people, like those ruled by Mars, upset, let's say it like this. Upset. Sometimes this will be a very weak word, because now when Mars faces the limitation of Saturn, he will become angry. Definitely. Because Mars does not like to be limited in every way. And Mars will feel frustrated a lot. Like he is suppressed, that his ego, his life purpose, he will feel is somehow blocked. And he will react in typically Martian way with action. And now the role of Saturn is to block. But in this way, I can say, because Mars is in a way, supported in the sky. How he is supported? Jupiter is making a trine to Mars in the sky in the days ahead. So Mars is gaining some strength also. So the attack of Mars will be really strong. Definitely.
Well, what would you say what's happening in France? It's the ethnical and it's ethnical, different social classes, they're clashing, they're similar what was happening in the States in 2020.
Yes, Saturn represents people who are in the lower level of society or with darker skin and so on. And now Mars is opposing. So of course, there will be much more anger issues, so to say, and much more use of force also against them. Let's just say. So things can go to be actually worse. So things will go worse. Yeah.
Oh.
But this is up to 20th of July. After that, slowly becomes better for everybody, after all. So about the ethnic clashes, what to say? There are always people who are different, who are not satisfied, and they have their reasons. And this is part of the development of society, after all. Of course, depends on the limits that are being broken somehow. We wish to be able to do things in the correct way, in the lawful way.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to say that Trifon is offering a love reading this month with 30% off. So if you're interested, because Venus is turning retrograde, that's
Saturn and Mars are opposing.
And Mars are opposing, so relationships might be quite important theme. So he decided to offer this till the end of this month. So I'm putting a link in the description if anyone is interested in a private reading with Trifon. And you said something the last time about, and it's still happening, about fires. Was it the eclipse? I think the eclipse was indicating that there will be fires a lot. And that's what's been happening in Canada for the past month and something.
Yes, this effect of the eclipse is supposed to be around 100 days. So now with Mars, we can see Mars opposing Saturn. We can see some more problems up to 20th of July, and maybe even in the beginning of August, because Mars will get this trine from Jupiter, and the trine from Jupiter can mean like the biggest fire, after all. So for some time, there can be less problems, let's say, in the second half of July, and I guess bigger wildfires in the beginning of August, especially around 6th of August, when we have the exact trine between Mars and Jupiter. Yeah,
And here's
so
how
this topic is active.
Can be something negative, Mars and Jupiter.
Yes. Mars and Jupiter, this is the aspect, of the explosion in astrology. Because Jupiter, of course, the touch of Jupiter makes Mars so big, so powerful. And this explosion of energy can be also having some destructive effects, of course. So, also this opposition of Saturn and Mars, by the way, because you mentioned the love reading and Venus, and this opposition of Saturn and Mars, they're in the 7th house from each other. 7th house from each other. And this opposition, of course, signifies conflicts, lack of peace, lack of harmony. And for people who have the signs of Saturn and Mars that I mentioned, of course, this opposition also means greater issues in their relationships, because for each one of them, one malefic will be in the 7th house, the one that is opposing the ascendant. Especially if you have like Leo rising or Aquarius rising in Sidereal. In tropical astrology, this is Virgo and Pisces. So if you have those signs, now this is especially more challenging time for you, including in relationships. And you people have to strive much more for harmony and balance as much as possible, because going down to negative emotions now, like fear because of Saturn or anger in relation to Mars, will have much more negative effects now. And of course, sometimes this will be inevitable because it represents processes that are just expression of things that acquired a long time to express. So just what to say, enjoy and try to be in balance. Remember that the destructive aspect of Saturn and Mars has its positive meaning, because nothing that is true, remember this, people, nothing that is true, nothing that is valuable will be not destroyed by Saturn or Mars. Saturn or Mars, they will just test the true validity of relationships and different other connections in life, and whatever is not able to withstand the test is just not worth it, and it will go. So please remember this, whatever happens in this month, for some of you, let's not say many, right? so whatever. For the rest of us, this opposition will still also have importance, because as you can see, those planets, they rule 4 signs: Scorpio, Aries, Aquarius, and Capricorn, which means that 4 houses in each person horoscope, 4 houses will be afflicted this month. This is like 1/3 of your entire life areas, of everything, 1/3 of everything. So imagine, people. So it will be fun. It will be fun this month. And remember that everything is about balance. It's about strength related to Mars, and it's about Saturn. I can relate it to how realistic, how truthful is everything. So it will be interesting. So you just can look at the houses in your horoscopes that are related to those signs, and you will see where you have some issues.
Mhm.
Also, the axis of the opposition. See where are Leo and Aquarius in Sidereal, or
Yes.
Virgo and Pisces in Western tropical astrology signs. So, and you will see where there will be some issues. And of course, this is only one thing. So I just remember that I'm looking at someone who is ruled by Saturn. So anyway, so okay. So, and this is like the main topic of the month, but it's not the only one. It's not the only one. We will have also Venus becoming a retrograde planet. So what does this mean? Of course, Venus will desire to reassess things related to love and relationships of any kind, because love is actually a universal value, and it relates to family, it relates to friends, and not only to personal relationships, but of course represents also personal relationships. And so when Venus gets retrograde, we're expecting to have some look backwards to the topics that have been important before in our relationships, to revisit them, to think again about things, to do whatever is necessary again. However, for some people, this can be also a little difficult because Venus rules certain type of people, like people related to art, for instance, or people who are involved in any profession creating balance and harmony and beauty, like certain therapists or people beautifying others. And those people, because Venus is ruling them, so usually this will be people who have rising Taurus or rising sign Libra in sidereal signs, but Gemini and Scorpion in Western astrology. But also people with those professions, and they will feel some setbacks. They will feel that they are going a little bit backwards in life for some time, reassessing everything. And for them, it's still okay. It's still okay, but they will have to wait till September, things to improve. And for, of course, this can be maybe the summer of those relationships that we are going back to someone from the past, for instance, Venus going retrograde. There can be, I guess, a lot of such reunions this summer. And I'm not saying that this is something very good, by the way. It can be good, maybe not. It's just what it is. However, there is also another mundane effect of Venus there. As you can imagine, Venus is the lord of the second house of the natural zodiac. In other words, she rules money. And when Venus is retrograde, I think we can expect a little bit, at least a little bit, this to be felt on the markets in a not so positive way. In this particular situation, I think Venus will give some influence over the real estate market. So things will go a little bit backwards. So in this sense, maybe we will see some rising of prices. We will see if I'm correct. But maybe it's better to wait to sell for September, for instance. In other words, because of those positions, this month is not like the best month for business for many ways, but because it's summer, I guess. So anyway, we'll give attention in other directions. So again, because Venus will become retrograde, and by the way, when Venus is becoming retrograde, this is 23rd of July. 23rd of July. So when Venus becomes retrograde, this means also she is making a station. The ancients are saying when planet makes a station, she starts to rule the time. So 7 days before that, in other words, 16th of July, for 2 weeks, Venus will rule the time. So even though Venus will become retrograde, still she will increase like a lot of more like love and pleasure for the world will be there. And in this sense, is actually very positive. More love, more love, more love. Returning, by the way, Venus retrograde, because, you know, people are traveling a lot in the summer, so people will revisit places and people that they love and that they have not seen long ago.
That's what we're doing, exactly.
So this will be very beautiful side of the retrograde Venus, actually, to see those friends that you have not seen in a long time, for instance, to see those loves that you have not seen in a long time. And in this sense, it's actually really a good thing. So again, this shows the balance that exists in every motion and position of the planets. Everything has its important side. And so Venus will be in Leo for some time. When she is in Leo and becoming retrograde, she is also subject to the influence of the opposition of Mars and Saturn. So this will be actually also important time to give attention to the people that we love, because some of them may be subject to more destructive influences, for instance. But Venus will turn back from the opposition. So initially, the problems will be avoided. Later, when she goes to make those aspects, this will be in August, September, then there can be some more trouble. And what else? There is also something else happening. Of course, many other things. I have here like an entire list of many things going on this month. But there will be actually, after some moment, let's just check when it was. So towards the end of the month, 25th of July. 25th of July, Mercury will enter Leo. At this point in time, we will have 3 planets in Leo: Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So it means that 3 planets will be in Leo and 3 planets will be in opposition to Saturn, or having the opposition of Saturn upon them, right? This means all those signs that are ruled by those planets. Again, Aries, Scorpio, Libra, Taurus, and we're adding also Gemini and Virgo in sidereal signs. Gemini and Virgo, which are in tropical Cancer and Libra. And they will be subject to this influence of Saturn, mostly in August, but it starts 25th. So people who are ruled by those signs will feel this. In other words, if you want to feel better somehow, or to have a vacation, better do it, I guess, before 20th of July, like very fast.
Like right at the start of August.
There is no true way like to avoid all those aspects, but I will at least tell you when we have somehow better positions. For instance, let's see. So the better positions are when the moon is in Virgo. This is 23rd of July. This is exactly when Venus turns retrograde. Well, however strange, the moon will be in Virgo in good aspects. By good aspects, I mean it will not have even single bad aspect. So 23rd, 24th of July will be also good times. You can plan something positive, with the exception that Venus will be retrograde, right? But the moon in Virgo is especially good about business projects and especially good about healing. And then in the very last 2 days of this month, 30th, 31st of July, we will have very well aspected moon in Sagittarius. So again, it will not have even one bad aspect. So it's the other like window that we have to do something good in our lives this month if we want to start something new. This will be also a position that is good for work and healing too, by the way.
30th and 31st.
Yes, these are the 2 moments. Before that, 28th of July, the moon in Scorpio, subject to the bad aspects of Saturn and Mars, has to be avoided at any cost. For important things, do not make surgeries, do not make important travel, if possible. Don't make important things. It's good for destructive actions, by the way.
Or something.
You can be sure that you will be able to finish whatever you want. So also between 16th and 19th of July, the moon is invisible. These are good days for rest and meditation, for instance, but not for new ventures. Whatever new is starting there will be, I would say, invisible, ineffective. Many other things are happening. Some of the important ones. I have not mentioned people who have Leo rising too much. There is one moment when they have to be a little bit more careful. The sun will make square with the axis of the nodes, 22nd of July. So people ruled by Leo, which is sidereal sign, of course, Virgo in tropical Western astrology. So they can have feeling that things are not happening well, especially psychologically this day. Be a little bit more careful, please. In this moment. And then there is something very interesting on the 26th of July. What is happening there is that Jupiter will enter the so-called royal degree. In other words, the 19th degree of Aries. By 19th degree of Aries, I mean 18 degrees and some minutes in this case. The ancients are saying that around this place, the sun becomes exalted. So it's a degree in the zodiac related to the powerful people, like leaders, and also those who are kings, for instance. But let's just say the leaders, people who are exalted, who have leadership positions. Jupiter is entering the degree. So I guess it will be a really good time for the most important and famous kings. Definitely. So they will have wonderful time, good news, fortunate events. And they will be able to do what and to achieve what they desire. So good times for the rulers. I hope this is good because remember that the ancient texts are saying that Jupiter in Aries will make everything to be okay, to be good, that it will resolve all crises. And this is an important position for Jupiter to achieve this because it connects with the power of the sun. In other words, will become very powerful. And this is actually the good news for the month. What I mean, Jupiter is becoming really, really powerful, irrespective of all the other things, Saturn, Mars, Venus retrograde. Jupiter just in time becomes very powerful because he will be at the moment of the rising of the sun, towards the end of the month and the beginning of the next. The sun and Jupiter will form a square in the sky, becomes exact 6th of August, by the way. But let's just say, starting with around this time, when Jupiter becomes royal, so to say, 26th of July. Starting with this time, Jupiter becomes really powerful. And the power of Jupiter always means that all negativity, whatever it is reduced. So Jupiter will reduce the influence of Saturn and Mars, retrograde Venus. And because he will become in conjunction with the zenith point at sunrise, this is actually the most powerful Jupiter probably for the entire year. This is what I think. The most powerful Jupiter for the entire year is happening end of July, beginning of August. In other words, the good will also prevail over everything else. We will be successful. We'll be able to mitigate the troubles and the problems. And people who are ruled by Jupiter, who are those? Sagittarius and Pisces rising, and people who have the sun in those signs, they will be more successful. Of course, they will feel much better. In those moments, 25th of July to like 10th of August is their prime, so to say. And we expect this for them. In tropical signs, of course, these are Aries and Capricorn, and people who have the positions there. If you think in tropical signs, these are the signs that you have to think about. And so in this positive way, I prefer to finish, because we can speak about a lot of many other things, like Mercury conjunction Venus, 27th of July, or the Sun with Sirius, and so on. There are many things that are happening. But the most important is that Jupiter is actually becoming so strong.
Perfect. Is it more important than Saturn-Mars opposition?
Well, we cannot say that it's more or less important, but we have to see it in combination. We see that there will be much tension because of Saturn-Mars opposition. And the tensions will be very strong in the 7 days before the opposition, like 13th of July till 20th, culminating on 20th of July. But right after this somehow destructive events, we'll see Venus and Jupiter taking their turn, becoming stronger, Venus starting to rule the days, and then Jupiter becoming really strong. So we can say that actually some really good time follows after 20th of July. For 20 days, it will be the most exciting time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Trifon. At least it wasn't so negative.
This is my trick. I always wait for the good things in the end.
Start heavy-handed and then
yes. I don't like to leave you depressed, of course.
Thank you, Trifon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you'd like to contact Trifon, in the description below or in the cards, you can click, and he's offering 30% discount on his love reading, currently relationship reading. And I'm looking forward to see you again next month, Trifon.
Thank you, people. Have a nice time ahead. Be careful and have fun.